Okay, thanks.
All right, so I'm Mary Jo. Everyone calls me MJ, so I'll just kind of start. I guess I started out in Powerview in 1998, so I've been there for a long time. I've basically taught almost every grade from K to 12 over all these years, so I have a vast experience right from early years, middle years to high school. I started in a role of grade 1, 4, 6, 7, 8 English in the French immersion, and I had some great mentorship which was so important to my learning over all these years. And those teachers back then made me who I am today. So that's kind of the cool thing. I do a lot of coaching, working in the community. That's my minute. So.
All right.
Yeah.
We are streaming. We are live now. We'll start our meeting over again. Go ahead,
Yes,
Larry.
hi, I'm Larry Sharp, and I'm one of the assistant principals acting right now. I started at Powerview back in about 2001. I was in the gym there for about 14 years, and then I moved into assistant principal role. I really enjoyed my time. An opportunity came for me to take another leadership position as principal at Black River School, which is one of the feeder schools for us, because our students from Black River come to Powerview once they hit grade 10. Next year it'll be grade 9, I believe, but we have those students coming in, so I took an opportunity to go up to Black River, and it was a really good experience for me to learn about leadership and to work in a First Nation community. Even though we work primarily with a lot of First Nation demographics in Powerview, it was good to work in a First Nation community and learn a lot of stuff hands-on, and get to learn a lot of the community members, and learn a lot of the stuff culturally that I could apply back in Powerview again now that I came back. I just miss my Powerview family, because as you'll hear later, we really do feel like a family they call Powerview School, and I'm glad to be back. So.
All right, I'm Andrew Claprat, and this is my first kick at the can at the administrator's table. I'm currently filling in for Paul Schramm. This is my 5th year at Cole Powerview School. I joined just after the pandemic, coming over from Seguin High School, where I'd spent just over 4 years there. Prior to that, as a student, I attended a high school in the division at Edward Schreyer School, and I'm a proud graduate of Sunrise School Division. I had the opportunity over the pandemic to start my administrator's degree at the U of M, and I was able to finish it shortly afterwards. So it's been a really fun shift. Some of you, as some of the trustees have noticed, have met me at the STA table, doing some stuff there with our liaison committees. I also run our local athletic council as well, and has been the president there for, I think at the end of my current term, it'll be 10 years. So try to stay involved as much as we can.
So welcome to our regular board meeting of the Sunrise School Division Board of Trustees. I'm going to call our meeting to order at 7:12. We had some technical difficulties. We're back streaming online and live here, so thank you for that. We are going to have O Canada by Gillis School. Please stand if you can do so. Thank you to Gillis School. We're going to have our treaty acknowledgement. I'm going to ask Trustee Dent to read out our treaty acknowledgement, please.
We acknowledge the traditional land upon which Sunrise School as Treaty 1 territory. We honor our partnership with Canada's original peoples and respect the gifts of Indigenous history, culture, and language. We commit to moving forward in partnership with our communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation.
To the people that are listening online, is that we have 8 trustees here. Trustee Wilson is online with us. We have Superintendent Reed, Secretary Treasurer Thiessen, and Assistant Superintendent Fieldberg that's here with us. We have Sarah Scott, that's our board support, and we have the 3 administrators from Poverty School, Mary Jo Avorka, Larry Sharp, and Andrew Claprat. They're here in the room with us. So with the adoption of the agenda, can we have a mover and a seconder by hands, or who are the mover and seconder? Dustin and Dawn. Can we have a show of any questions? Can we have a show of hands that we are in favor of the agenda? Thank you for that. Donna, you're good with that?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. All right, so Chair's comments is that please, if you have questions, send your questions to jody.thiessen@sunrisesd.ca and put your name and address in the questions, and we will answer those questions come question period later on in the evening. We have a share a story, so I'm going to open up the floor about share a story. Are there trustees that would like to share a story? Trustee Boytson.
I just want to thank everyone around our board table for their participation throughout the budget preparation process. It's been an extremely busy month, lots of very productive discussions and deliberations. I have really appreciated and welcomed various points of view as we all work towards creating a budget that supports achieving the goals of the school division. Tonight we will vote on the outcome of our efforts. After each meeting, I left this room knowing that our students and staff are supported and appreciated, which was reflected in the considerations that took place. I especially want to thank Jody, Trevor, and Lars for gathering all the information we requested and needed in order to make the decisions that we felt were best. Your patience, guidance, ability to answer all the questions is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Sarah, for keeping us on track. The lateness of our funding announcement caused the need to cancel and reschedule meetings, and you made sure that our calendars were always up to date and that we were organized and ready for the meetings. Thank you to my fellow trustees. After each meeting, and there were many, I felt supported, respected, and truly part of a team. I cannot think of a better group of people to work with. I look forward to continuing our work together.
Thanks, Trustee Boyton. Trustee Nicol?
The grade 9 to 12 students point my school went to Falcon Ridge Ski Resort. Happy report of no broken bones. Also, our students were very polite and respectful to all staff, and they were asked to come back because they said it's one of the best buses they ever had to work with. In Metro Village a week ago, there was one of the teachers, Mrs. Fullbed, the staff, and the fact they put on the event. There was pancakes for everybody in the morning and banning for the grade K to 6 students. There were presentations on floor trapping, dog sledding, and making moose calls. There was also surf making in the snow afterwards, and a ring tossed, and there was chocolates all day. I'd like to thank the PAC for spending the whole day there helping the teachers and staff putting on a wonderful job.
Thanks, Trustee Nicol. Anyone else? Trustee Rowan?
I'd like to thank both École Dugald School and Oakbank Elementary School for having me out to read to their students for I Love to Read Month. I loved having the opportunity to do this, and I look forward to doing so again next year. I'd also like to give a huge shout out to the École Dugald School for their drama production they put on. It was a fantastic performance. I'd also like to thank everyone that came out to support the SCI PAC Quiz Night. It was a great night of fun and games. Looking ahead, SCI has their Parent Orientation Night on Thursday, May 6th at 6:30 p.m. This is an opportunity for parents considering sending their child to SCI to check out the school and learn more about it. And Oakbank Parents for Ukrainian Education has their next meeting coming up on Monday, March 10th at 6:30 p.m. in the OBE library.
Thanks, Melissa. Anyone else? So, Lorraine, I don't think I could have said it any better if you were very, very eloquent in what you said, so there's no use in repeating it, but a reminder that March is always an issue for school divisions and senior administration with regard to budgets and school boards for passing budgets. We're planning on passing one tonight. A lot of hard work in from your team, Trevor, so thanks very much for that, as what Lorraine said, and thanks to the people around this table for the work. Thanks for the challenges that everyone had to go ahead and get challenged on at times. And I think, Dustin, you said it, Trustee Dent, you said it very well a little bit earlier, is that certainly not everybody agrees, but the conversations that we have around here and everybody being able to listen to everybody's opinion has been very respectful. So thanks to everybody for doing that. I appreciate that. Shout out to Powerview School and all of our schools for I'd Love to Read Month that just passed, and the work that everyone did in I Love to Read Month for the work. And the continued work that, whether it's at Powerview School or any of our schools, that our staff are doing for students to not only in the classroom, for what happens outside of the classroom. You just heard that from Trustee Nicol talk about some of the things that were going on, the fundraising you heard that from SEI. So kudos to all of our staff for the work that they're doing throughout the division. Thank you. Anyone else? Last one? Okay. We are going to then turn it over to you, Mr. Reed, and I'll get you to introduce our group that are here.
Yeah, we're just saying welcome to our admin team from École Powerview School. Two-thirds of them who are in interim roles, filling in while people are on leave, but doing a fabulous job. And so we're just saying welcome to School Principal Mary Jo Hovorka-Seymour and Assistant Principals Larry Sharp and Andrew Clapratt. And we will turn it over to the crew, and they'll be sharing some stuff about the school with us this evening.
All right, so let's start the presentation. Thanks for the introductions, and thanks for giving us an opportunity to present. So, as you can see, École Powerview School is now designated a community school. We are a busy school, and our logo speaks volumes when it says, "Bring it on." Our École Powerview staff are champs, and every day they rise to the challenges, and they give our students hope. It's important to recognize that all of our staff do on a daily basis when they put our student needs first to support their learning.
The old African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," relates to École Powerview School, our community school. And we understand at Powerview, it takes many to support the needs of our students, and we need to work together in solidarity and unity to make our school a great place to learn. Our school community is helping raise our students to be confident and proud learners and leaders.
École Powerview School is a family where learning leads and leaders learn. We have a school culture where our students, staff, parents, and community members feel like family when they enter our building.
We are raising our students with a student-centered model that has our school, division, and community supports built to support our at most risk students and our most exceptional students on their learning journey. The success of our students depends on a group effort of multiple human resources that help our students, teachers, and families succeed.
One of the last things my dad said to me was, "You give me hope." In reflection, I realized how powerful hope can be to any human being when needing a lifeline. The students and families of École Powerview School have many barriers in their way, and in many ways they are reaching out to the community as a lifeline, like our community school as a lifeline, because they need a sense of hope, to feel courage, to move forward, to overcome the barriers that we can help remove with our human and financial resources. And you can see on the slide of the many barriers that we have, but all of the hope that we also have.
So speaking of hope, every day our staff at Ecole Powerview School, we attempt to hold our students accountable and to provide opportunities for them to learn and lead so that they prosper, grow, and feel a sense of empowerment as well as a general sense of hope for the future.
We're going to look here at our nutrition program, and as you can see, on a daily basis, we're feeding most of our students, which gives them a sense of hope and a sense of food security, which is a big issue in our community. By having breakfast, lunch, and snack program, it takes the stress off our students and families with no judgment. And if we take a look at the stats, they speak for themselves. For our school size, this is a big part of our population, 162 to 190 students in the breakfast program, up to 200 students participating in our lunch programs, up to 185 in our snack programs, and of course, again, in our meal program, up to 185 students. We're getting big numbers of students participating, taking some of the stress off them and their families.
So a new addition to our support team is our community connector, Deborah Majot. She runs multiple programs to get students, parents, families, and community members into our building. And she has multiple connections within our community and fills multiple roles and support roles within our school as well.
We also have a very unique sense of hope where we've introduced a teen mental health clinic to our school. We have one mental health worker that comes 3 days per week, an average of 1 hour per visit. She is very conscious of students missing class, so she always makes sure, like that first 15 minutes into class, she won't book appointments because she doesn't want them to miss lessons. A lot of her services, she'll say, are not duplicated. So we have to remember too, with her services, is they're very flexible because kids will come in when needed. Sometimes it's emergency situations. And I'll give you a little bit of perspective. Her current caseload is 35 students, and an average mental health worker for adults would be 40 clients, and that would be full-time. So it's really kind of boosted off, and we see the difference in our hallways, and our kids sometimes, even when they're just feeling anxiety and stress, they have that option. They know it's there and it's immediate, where if a teen would try to book an appointment, it could take them up to weeks or months to get into with a mental health worker.
And again, I'm going to kind of piggyback off what MJ was saying and just kind of highlight the importance of our clinic. As you know, the position removes barriers to our students accessing mental health. And many of these students would not have an opportunity to access these kind of mental health supports, by themselves in the community, and just having it in the building makes it more accessible to them, and it provides a holistic approach to their health and mental wellness.
So in alignment with the Mamatisiwin, the wonder we are born with, an Indigenous education policy framework, and with the holistic medicine wheel of spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental health balance, it all comes back to hope. By having a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, and a sense of meaning in life, we're hoping to empower our students to achieve the best that they can.
That being said, it brings us into our school literacy goal. The last years we focused on improving student mental health, and we noticed a correlation with struggling students needing support around literacy. During the 2023-24 school year, we focused grades 7 to 12 setting goals and working towards short and long-term goals. And we worked on celebrating talents within the school. So at a classroom level, we still kind of plan to continue nurturing those goals of setting goals, celebrating successes throughout the day, but now we're shifting our focus to literacy. And it was all based on teacher feedback, on data collection that demonstrated a need to improve and refine foundational literacy skills, which in turn will help increase confidence, hence mental health. So a good reader becomes a good leader in a school where learning leads and leaders learn. So if we look at our K-3 literacy, here's an update. So just to ensure that we're moving towards our literacy goal, we have been collecting data that looks at our students' phonetic awareness, decoding, and fluency skills. So as you can see with the numbers of scores falling in the red at the beginning of kindergarten, our students come into PowerView with really limited reading skills. If the majority of students started school in the green, we wouldn't need to be as intentional and as explicit as we are with our reading instruction. So to address these challenges, our K-3 teachers have been using UFly and refining their own practice to try and close those reading gaps. So as you can see with the trend, the overall progress, it has been slow, and we have a lot of groundwork to make up, but we're confident that we are going in the right direction. So to put things in perspective, our English kindergarten class, all 10 students were referred for speech and language support. That's a 100% referral rate. This speaks to the lack of home language support. So this is just showing the one-to-one versus and the small group instruction. This is our literacy support data. So we just pulled some data from a grade 1 class, and our literacy support teacher, she took 3 students that were not ready for whole class instruction. And as you can see here, the students' growth from September to February. And if you look on the bottom, the student concepts of print, that's meanings like one-to-one matching skills, identifying words versus letters, reading right to left, top to bottom, and just being able to focus on the print. Students' success also from September to February.
And one of our big school goals, which we're still working towards, is becoming a trauma-informed and resilient school. A place where all students will develop a sense of belonging and the belief that they can be successful and achieve personal goals. All students will demonstrate increased skills related to resiliency, self-advocacy, self-regulation, relationship building, and decision-making. All students' strengths and talents can be acknowledged and celebrated. We're just taking a look here at how our students respond to trauma. The majority of the behaviors that we see in our building seems to be stem from trauma that they have encountered in the past. And we have to ask ourselves why. You know, why is the student asking out, not trying to identify what they're doing, but what's causing that behavior? Why do they fight? Why do they run? Why do they tune us out? Or why do they look for constant approval and attention? We had an amazing full day of PD for our staff on trauma-informed care. It was a day well spent for our staff and reminded us of the challenges that we face with the emotional needs of our students.
So again, that being said, we're moving to that hope of looking on our journey of reconciliation within our school. And that has to do with how we're infusing Indigenous knowledge and perspective. If you look at our school, we're very unique dynamics. We have 435 students enrolled. 85% of our population is self-identified Indigenous. We pull from 2 surrounding reserves. We get Black River students from grade 10 to 12, and next year we're going to be bringing in our grade 9s. We have many students that come from Saugeen First Nation. We run multiple, as you can see, different activities that relate directly to the culture, and we even had our first annual showcase powwow in June last year, and we're going to be having our second one coming up in June 6th this year. if we look at the way that we're approaching Indigenous education, it just aligns with the Mamatuwissawan document and framework. So again, we have the 4 corners where we're working it towards authentic involvement, putting students at the center, inclusive and culturally safe, and creating an understanding of the world around us.
Now, we can't do this alone, so we bring in a lot of knowledge keepers and elders from the surrounding communities that are able to contribute their teachings to our students and our staff at Ecole Powerview School. Additionally, Doreen Wood isn't on there, but she also does a fabulous job teaching Ojibwe language to our students and our community in the evenings as well. And many of our Indigenous activities are student-run, and previous students come back and always celebrate their gifts with us as well.
We're just taking a look at some of the challenges that are presented in our community. These challenges are nothing new, and we have been building capacity and showing growth with the increased supports from the division. So we'll just take a look at some of the challenges that we have, but with the support the division has been giving us, we've been overcoming a lot of those challenges.
We also have our successes, so I'll read you this poem. Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All of Ecole Powerview School staff and community did their best to put Humpty Dumpty again. Not the best rhyming. We have many successes as we work hard at picking up the pieces and problem solving the why and the how we can best support our students. So as you see, there's multiple successes down there that you can check out, right from our teen clinic to just building connections, our sensory room, the unity that we have as a staff, and we actually are this year trying to get our first annual community job fair. So that's upcoming too. Making the impossible possible. I pulled this from Kevin Lamoureux. This was pictures from our first annual showcase powwow. My husband is from Saugeen First Nations, and he went to school in Saugeen First Nation his whole life, and he dealt with his own racial profiling. He really had to come and see this to believe it, because he was, and my husband doesn't come to anything on a regular basis. He's a real introvert. So he came out that day and he sat there and he smiled and he shook his head, and there was so much pride. And we also seen that in our elders that day and our knowledge keepers. And it was something to see. And to go along like this, we had presented in 2023-24, and you can remember Chrissy Visna talking about this young child that you have here taking a nap on her desk. So this is just an example of a student who was disengaged and had high needs behavior in kindergarten. After receiving whole class instruction and literacy support, is now able to complete a writing activity in the classroom with the class and read her own books. She is filled with pride and confidence in her abilities. It took a team effort to make this happen. She has an EA, sensory room time, literacy support time, speech and language time, and classroom time. No longer in the office anymore, sleeping.
Another focus for French literacy, and how we now have French literacy teacher for a .4 term. Very good, Madame Joelle. She's back in the building. We're glad to have her back, because she gave us many good years of teaching at Parview. But she brings a new set of dynamics to our French immersion program, and we're always changing, and our students to help meet their literacy needs. Every year, our immersion teachers try to make the learning experience in French fun and culturally relevant. Petit Cafe is coming up on May 15th. Come out for our French cultural experience and watch our students utilize the language. Our K-9 immersion students went to Festival de Voyageurs this past February and had a great experience. Your grade 9 to 12 immersion students had an amazing trip to Quebec last spring. These experiences give a lifetime of memories and encourage our students to utilize the language they're learning through our French immersion program.
So one of the things that we've mentioned a couple of times today is student-centered learning and putting our students at the center. So in order for us to do that, we have to build capacity. Our staff have to continue to be learners and leaders within the school and model our school motto. And that means that we build our own self-efficacy so that the self-efficacy of our students so that we're able to build our collective efficacy as a school community. So one of the ways in which we do that, we have a thriving alternative education program. Just the little top right there, if you take a look at our enrollment, we have 29 full-time students in our ALT program, 12 of which are potential graduates this year. There were 170 credits offered to students throughout this school year through our alternative education program. And to the date of publishing this in February 21st, 68 credits have been completed through this program. We also offer flex course credits in addition to our regular timetable as a student support model to help students pick up the courses that they need in order to stay on track to graduate and to help them feel success if a full classroom environment doesn't quite work for them. We also attempt to offer as many land-based and outdoor experiences as we can at a Cole Powerview school. These are just some pictures from both of our Alt Ed and our Sustainable Tourism courses. And we worked through the Black River Jordan's Principal program as well to help provide some of these opportunities for our students as well. And here we've got in the kitchen, we've got some cooking, beading, sewing, making mitts, moccasins, ribbon skirts, ribbon shirts, all kind of culturally relevant pieces for our high number of Indigenous students.
And here's just a demonstration of some data with our high school attendance and pass rates. So there's a correlation, strong correlation that you can see between attendance and passing the courses. You'll notice our grade 9s are always going to be a little bit under because grade 9s are learning. They're learning how to function in high school. It's a big switch and transition from grade 8 to 9, so a little bit different, but attendance-wise, we've had increases across the board from grade 9 to 12, which is amazing, and our pass rates are really good too. So to kind of end this off, we're just giving hope every day, and that's a gift and empowerment, and each day we are giving each other hope, and that makes the impossible possible, just like Kevin Lamoureux said. So you can see here all the different ways that we do it, through right from building positive relationships, creating that sense of belonging, purpose, and hope, creating a safe, inclusive environment and place for our students to be, and I mean, the list goes on. So thank you very much for listening to our presentation, and we welcome any questions if you have some.
Thank you very much to the three of you as to coming to us and presenting. It's always easier sitting over here than it is sitting there, so thanks guys for doing that. Any questions for Powerview School from anyone? Yep, Trustee Boyton?
I don't have a question, but I did attend the powwow last year, and I've already put June 6th on my calendar for this year. So it was a wonderful event, very emotional, and hopefully you'll invite the trustees again.
Yeah, we moved the date up, so we're actually going to be able to, we're booking more showcase dancers, so, yeah, we're even getting some hoop dancers in this year and stuff, so it'll be good.
Anyone else? Trustee Rowan?
Just want to confirm how, because I can't recall, has it only been 1 year that you've been at community school? Like, is this the first? Okay, and I won't hold you too hard to the fire, but I'm very interested to see how that impacts your school ability to help your students. And so I guess next year when they come back, I'd really love to hopefully see some change. I know the nutrition program itself is amazing, so that's wonderful to see. But I will be looking forward to see next year how that has affected your community. Thank you.
Anyone else? So I want to go back to, can you go to that challenge page? So I think it's slide 21. Okay. So kudos to the three of you. When we take a look at a school, and I'm going to be blunt, Parvy School has these challenges that are here, and it doesn't make your job very easy as to what are some of the things that are going on. And great that we just were informed that you're a community school, and Trustee Rowland talked a little bit about, what impacts that has. That's hard for you to tell. You did mention certainly about nutrition and how that's helped certainly some of your students. So the question I'm going to ask you, these are the challenges that you have that you've identified, and nobody doubts that as to stuff that's going on. At the end of the day, what do you need from trustees to turn all these things into academic successes? What do you need?
I think honestly, we need the continued support for our school in regards to, I think on the daily, the one thing that we struggle with the most is that shortage of staff from subs and stuff. So we're constantly moving and trying to move pieces to make that work. Well, that's an everyday. Every day we're missing from, I would say, probably sometimes could be 4 EAs to 2 teachers. Sometimes it's 4 teachers and 6 EAs. So we really have to be problem solvers right from the morning.
So what do you do in that?
We get together, we come up with our list, and we problem solve. It takes us the first half an hour of our day when we get in there at 7:30, and that's what we do. We figure it out as a team, and then we make the working pieces. We utilize our staff, we have coverage, we have to pull. Mm-hmm.
So, when we come in the morning, that process looks like, who are we missing? On the EA side, it's a conversation with our resource teachers about how can we juggle around our EA coverage to make sure our one-to-one students have their one-to-one support. And it does mean that some classrooms who otherwise would get EA support lose that EA support for the day, because we have to make sure our one-to-ones are covered and we have to make sure our supervision needs are covered. When it comes to teaching staff that are missing, it depends on whether they are on our high school end or on our elementary end right now, just because the schedules do not quite align. If we have the ability to cover it internally, we often do. This results with, for instance, myself, we were down 2 teachers today. So I covered part of the morning in our grade 1-2 class, and then we had to pull one of our resource and lit support teachers to cover a portion of the day, which means that teacher is no longer able to do their small group instruction and lead those lessons with the students that need lit support, because we need to put them in a classroom. And then we're juggling subs around, and if we need to, we're then looking at which teachers are on prep, and do we pull them from a prep to cover off, especially the elementary classes. We do our absolute best. To my knowledge, I don't think we've canceled any classes for missing teachers, and it's mostly because our staff are absolute rock stars, and whenever I get to come up to them in the morning and be the bearer of bad news, most of them go, yeah, I understand. And at the same time, when they're away, they know that their colleagues will sacrifice a prep or two and take care of their classes' learning needs as well.
And ultimately, what it means is, though, as our students are sometimes missing the supports that they need that have been in place. So if an EA is not there, like, it's crucial to their learning, so that becomes, an issue. Yep.
So every day, Power is missing substitutes.
Yeah. Every day. Well, it always goes in waves, though, because January, February to March, it's a bad season. It's always at our school because we have sub-teachers that they're snowbirds and they fly away and then they come back. So we just got to make it to March, and then after spring break, they all come back, they fly back. So then it helps to ease, but it won't be as bad after spring break.
Okay, so that's one of your issues.
Mhm.
What else do you need?
I think if we look at the big picture, we're kind of moving in the right direction. When I look at everything else, what do you guys think?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this direct question. If I want to say that I want you to get everybody in our high school to get 70% or better in their academic courses, what do you need to do that?
Well, I would say the other thing that we would be lacking is our collaboration time. That's a huge one. Like the ability for our teachers, and we were talking about that on the way here, of our teachers just being able to work together, to have the time to collaborate, because it's a busy school. We're busy every day, but that's a missing piece which could really help our student learning, as if teachers had more time together.
Any other questions? So thanks, guys, for coming in and doing that. What I want to do is this picture of the challenges that are up there. That's a great, it's a great thing for our trustees to go ahead and take a look at. It's also a really good thing about the number of things that you're trying to do outside of the classroom and inside of the classroom. So thanks for sharing this with us. We appreciate it. And I think that there was a number of trustees that attended the powwow last year, and it was a pretty proud moment for a lot of people in Sunrise School Division. So nice work, certainly, about that. But thanks very much for coming and doing this. Yeah, Trev, do you want to add anything?
No, just a thank you to the admin team. It's they flagged it on there a little bit about transiency staff and, building capacity, and we all can appreciate stability in our own lives, professional and personal. And the current admin team is filling in. There's been a couple of leaves and some challenges at the school with some staffing, and I think they're just doing a great job, steadying the ship up there. So they're in good hands currently at Powerview School.
You're the only school that has to come and present in front of two former principals of the school there too, so that's not the easiest thing to do. But kudos to you, nice work, thanks very much. And of course, don't feel shy. You know what, as we're done here, you know what, if I was presenting, I wouldn't stay, so don't stay, but of course, you're more than welcome to stay. Thanks very much, guys. Okay, so we're going to move forward with our minutes, February 18th. Be it resolved that the board adopt our February 18th minutes. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Smith and seconded by Trustee Nickel. Any questions to those minutes? Hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed with one abstention. Thank you. February 25th minutes. Be it resolved the board adopt the February 25th special board meeting minutes. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Boyton, seconded by Trustee Rowan. Any comments to the special meeting minutes? Hearing none, we'll vote. It passed 9-0, thank you. 6.1 is our superintendent's report. Mr. Reed?
Thank you. February 26th was our monthly SELT meeting for the month of February. For the morning, we welcomed a guest speaker, which we don't often do, from the Canadian Mental Health Association, Irene Nordheim. And she came in and talked about personal wellness for administrators related to the challenges of running a public school, and also just healthy school environments in general. After lunch, we did some work with the Provincial Teachers Collective Agreement and some of the clauses that we all need to be aware of when we go through to our spring hiring, that are new. So we did a review of that because we are, getting ready to ramp up our spring sort of hiring season, and we want to make sure that we are aware and paying attention to the new details in the collective agreement. So, as I think was mentioned earlier, the trustees had their draft budget meeting for the public last Thursday on the 25th. Unfortunately, as many people are aware, the live stream of the meeting did not function correctly, and we determined afterwards that was related to the power failure that was in the community of Beausejour 5 days earlier, and a server not restarting itself that we weren't aware of. And so draft budget information was placed on the website, and some of our trustees circulated that through social media as well, so thank you for doing that. And thank you to all those in the public who provided feedback. And of course, we anticipate and hope that our trustees will pass the budget for the 25-26 school year later this evening. Some thank yous going out. We've just completed our recent tour of the 4 major post-secondary institutions, our universities, where we train teachers in Manitoba. So thank you to our division principals, Jody Wilgosh and Chris Cusperti, for kind of organizing and leading that initiative. And thank you to some teachers, Haley Bujan, Nicole Marr, and Kelly Palmer, who attended various career fairs as representatives of the school division. We always like to joke that young people coming out of the faculty really don't like to speak to men in their 50s. There's not a lot that they have in common. So we take some of our young and new teachers with us who are outstanding representatives of the school division and are much better at engaging young prospective teachers. And then we have some of the veterans, behind the table waiting to answer some of the questions about contracts and school divisions that our young teachers can't. So it's a great kind of setup there. So thank you to those teachers, and also thank you to Jennifer Baker and Kristen Ursel in the office, who do a lot of the logistics to help prepare the teams to go out to those events. So, and it was already mentioned once earlier this evening, just about the Springfield Collegiate PAC Quiz Night fundraiser. And we had a team from the Sunrise Education Center that attended, and just going to say we didn't finish first, but we didn't finish last. And so, but more importantly than that, a very, very enjoyable evening, great time had not just by our team, but obviously it was a great time had by all in attendance, lots of laughs and lots of fun. And so just thank you to the SCI PAC for putting that on for all of those in attendance, and for the fundraising that they were doing on behalf of the school.
Thanks, Mr. Reed. Any questions for him? Donna, I don't keep on going to you, but at any time, Donna, you want to jump in when I put forward to the trustees here, jump in, okay?
I will do that.
Thank you. So our board reporting schedule, that's there for information. What will be interesting, Trevor, is that March 18th you bring a grade 9 to 12 credit attainment. It'll be very interesting to see how our students did, certainly with regard to the first semester academic-wise. That'd be very interesting. Anybody else about, with regard to the board reporting schedule, anything for them? Okay. Jody, you want to move to you, Secretary Treasurer's report?
Thank you. It's kind of a short and sweet, kind of condensed Secretary Treasurer report. My time has been spent majority on the budget. So usually I go about once on a weekly basis checking in with my finance and various departments. I haven't had a chance because it's been budget all the time. But I do want to let everybody know, in the report we reference the Transportation Department is filling or working on filling one vacant position. That is the secretary position that they're working on. I noticed
all that information wasn't provided. So they've fulfilled one position and they're looking for the other position. So we should be knowing shortly, probably by next meeting, who that individual will be, and I'll share it with the board at that time. And later on tonight, there's going to be a recommendation to purchase 7 buses. The department was busy crunching numbers and reviewing all the information to put together in the budget. So by the looks of it, we've adequately budgeted for the 7 buses. So that's a highlight for that department once they hear the motion tonight. Maintenance, we have had Derek Ryback retire as of Friday, this past Friday. We wish him all the best, but he has returned to support me while I'm the intern maintenance manager. So we are in the process also of training a new secretary at or in the maintenance department. So there's going to be a lot of new fresh faces in the maintenance department, and I look forward to working with anybody, the new person, as well as getting the secretary all up to speed. So it's been an interesting week, and it's only Tuesday, so so that's good. Other things I want to highlight, though, and I'll probably share some information later on in the school year, but Dugald PAC has been actively working on fundraising for a new playground. We talked last week about utilizing the Sunrise Education Foundation. Next week we'll have a meeting to get the approval from the foundation committee and then ultimately the board approval for their use of the Education Foundation, where they can accept, or where we can accept, donations for their playground. And much like Gillis, same thing, they are actively working on securing funds for a playground as well. Both PACs are very engaged and strong knowledge on these projects. I was really impressed with their professionalism and how well they put things together, and the involvement from the principals. They are 100% involved. Some are helping write the grants with them, and others are reviewing the grants. So it's been really, really good to see the involvement from the principals and engagement, and seeing how they can, or how we can work together with the Sunrise Education Foundation. So it's been going well with discussions, and there'll be more information later on in the year.
Thanks, Jody. Any questions for Secretary Treasurer Thiessen? Okay, so let's move on to board business. The first item on here is our board budget. I am going to read our motion there. I will go round table and give people if they want to make a comment on it, and then we'll go ahead and vote on it. So our budget. Be it resolved that the board give final approval to the 25-26 operating budget totaling $87,541,425 in operating expenditures and transfers to capital excluding adult learning centers. And be it further resolved that the board approve the special requirement for the 2025-26 fiscal year be set at $55,333,143, resulting in a special levy for the 2025 for all municipalities being set at $49,238,051. So I need a mover and seconder to get it on the table, please. Moved by Trustee Nicol and seconded by Trustee Smith. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and Jody, help me if I'm wrong here. So this is a 6.99% increase in expenditures.
Correct.
It is a mill rate where we have our current mill rate is 12.325, and we're dropping our mill rate to 11.916. What you've provided here on a number of the attachments is where there's some very good explanations. Thanks, Jody. And then it talks to about a number of the increases that the board is continuing to consider in the budget, and it's listed out here. Thanks for that. And there's a summary of budget that's on here as well. So I'm going to go round table and give people an opportunity that if they want to say anything before we go ahead and vote, to go ahead and do that. I'm going to start with you, Trustee Rowan. Anything you want to say?
I just want to thank our administration for their help. They put a lot of work into this, and I know that getting the funding announcement late has put a lot of pressure on them and their departments, so I appreciate their efforts in that, and I want to thank the board as well for their efforts in working together. As was said earlier, we didn't always see eye to eye on everything, but we worked well together to come to something that I think we're all happy with in the end.
Thanks, Trustee Rowan. Trustee Rowland?
I agree there with Melissa. We all did a lot of work and had lots of discussion, and I feel that we've done a really good job listening to the administration's suggestions, recommendations, and also to our public who have identified needs in student services and teachers as well. So I think we've done a wonderful job in providing supports to our student services, and a significant nearly $1 million addition to that area will provide a lot of support for teachers and our most fragile students who need us. So I think that our families should be very proud and happy with the supports that we've provided, and we will pass that today.
Thanks, Trustee Rowan. Trustee Nicol?
Well, this is the fastest and busiest time I ever had a budget. We only had 13 days to decide once we got the figures from the province and to finally have the public meeting. So 13 days is not very long to try to figure out how to spend $87 million. So the number of meetings I had in 1 week, I think, was 3 meetings I had in 1 week on the budget, so that's something very different. But I think that we did a very good job, we'll say, to making sure that we balance the needs of the students with the needs of the taxpayers. We lowered the mill rate. If your assessment went up, well, you may or may not have paid a little bit more. My philosophy is, what is a child's life worth? So it might cost you extra $20 or $25, but that might help that child become a effective citizen because he or she had the ability to go see a mental health doctor.
Thanks, Trustee Nicol. Trustee Smith?
I believe all the trustees went to their schools and discussed with the principals what their needs were, and we gave the information to the administrators, and they gave us the required information that we needed. We all took the time to discuss as a board and went back and forth, and we took the time and listened to each other's needs and discussed it. We didn't always agree, but we took the time to listen to each other, and we came to agreement as a board, and we will vote as a board, and I'm comfortable with that. And I believe the ratepayers will be happy with our decision, and I'm comfortable with that.
Thanks, Trustee Smith. Trustee Dent?
That's one of the problems when you're fifth on the list here, is a lot of people have said what you were going to say. But what Don was saying, I think we addressed a lot of needs of our students in the areas that they required the support, while then also being able to meet the needs of some of the families, understanding that these are challenging economic times, so being able to lower the mill rate was important for us. And I'm proud that we were able to do that, because I understand that not all school divisions were able to do so. So addressing the needs of our students while still addressing some of the economic pressures that some of our families are going to be faced with, I think was important. So I too feel satisfied with the budget. We were able to, as Alicia was saying, connect with the schools and meet a lot of their desired needs. So I think this will be a positive outcome for Sunrise School Division.
Thanks, Trustee Dent. Trustee Boyson?
I have really nothing further to add other than to thank everybody who participated in the process. and came up with, their wants and their needs and what they feel they need to make our students successful. And I'm looking forward to passing this budget.
Thank you, Trustee Boyton. Trustee Harris?
A few weeks ago, the Manitoba government announced that school operating funding within the province for next year was increasing by 3.4% overall. Based on the information provided, Sunrise School Division's increase amounted to just 1.2 to 1.3%, which is on the low end compared to other divisions across the province. If we were limited to this amount of funding, then Sunrise would need to look at cost-cutting measures. Fortunately, the province has allowed school divisions to go to homeowners in the event that more monies are required. In order to meet various inflationary costs, provincially bargained wage increases to teachers, and maintain one of the largest bus fleets in the province, we have had a need for more monies. The summary of our budget also shows that we are increasing funding in many, many areas, including, but not limited to, teachers, student support services, field trips, and staff compensation. I believe it is in some of these increased funding areas where we could have sharpened our pencils a bit more. I feel a status quo budget, along with some minimal addition to selected areas, would have been sufficient to meet the needs within Sunrise. Our resulting 6.99% increase in the budget year over year is a bit too high in my opinion, albeit a reduction in the mill rate. Don't get me wrong, I am all for support to our students and staff and the first to want to spend more money. With that said, however, it's difficult for me to fully support the budget as presented tonight. I would like to thank everybody involved. We did some very hard work on this budget. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Harris. Trustee Wilson?
Yes, I'd like to go on record as thanking Jody and senior administration and my fellow trustees for the hard work they did in coming to an agreement on this budget. I think we've really addressed the needs of students in Sunrise School Division, yet keeping in mind the challenges that many of the families are facing by reducing the mill rate. So thank you very much, and I understand that coming to an agreement on such short notice was difficult for many, especially Jody. So thank you again, and I think we've come up with a good budget that will address all needs for the students in Sunrise School Division.
Thanks, Trustee Wilson. So I'm going to end it off here by coming back to the presentation that we had in front of us today. Presentation that we had from one of our schools and the challenges that are there, and it's not just this school that's facing that, but the challenges board that they sent to us, the one slide with social economic circumstances, the transient and truancy issues, student diversity, transient staff, daily behaviors, mental health. So I think that this board took a look at what are the needs of our schools and what is a balance between what is fair to ratepayers as to where we are. I think that we've always been very much student-centered, and I think that we've tried to do that, always thinking back in our minds as to what about our ratepayers, because I've heard you all say that. So thank you for that. Thanks again to our staff for this process. So, having said that, we are now going to call the question. With no more, we're going to go ahead and vote. And it passed 9-0. Thank you for that. 8.2. That's a big congratulations to our senior admin, certainly about getting a budget in our board. Thank you for that. 8.2 is MSBA board ballots. Be it resolved that Trustee Boyton is authorized to receive the Sunrise School Division board ballots at the Manitoba School Boards Association Convention in 2025. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Boyton, Trustee Rowland, second by Trustee Dent. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 9-0, thank you. Bus purchases, always a big one in here. Be it resolved that the board approve the purchase of up to 7 buses, subject to budget capacity, and be it further resolved, the board approve the transfer from the bus reserve to support the purchase of the buses. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Smith and seconded by trustee Nickel. Any questions on this? Hearing none, we'll vote. It passed 9-0, thank you. And buses probably just got a little bit more expensive today. Monthly enrollment, so there's there for information. Any questions with regard to enrollment in our schools? It's there for your information. Any comments? Okay, thanks for providing that, Trev. That's information. Policy committee. So trustee Rowan, anything before we go through that, anything that you want to comment about the policy?
No comments from policy other than once we get here to approving policies 6 and 11.
So right now we have policy number 6, board policy development review and amendment process. So be it resolved, the board accept the recommended changes to policy number 6 as suggested. Mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Rowan, seconded by trustee Boytson. Any questions to this? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. Yeah, it's okay. Just take our time.
So my screen has frozen.
Donna, you said that we've frozen?
My screen has frozen.
Yeah, I just think it's taken time because there's the 1.2 million people watching, and so that's why it's just taken some time. No, it's all through now. Thanks, Donna. And so that passed the 9-0. Thank you. Policy number 11, contingency planning. Be it resolved that the board accept the recommended changes to policy number 11 as suggested. Moved by trustee Rowan and seconded by trustee Dent. Any questions to this? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote.
I'm having problems with my screen.
Okay.
So I vote in favor.
It's just, there's a little bit of delay on all of us here, Donna. So none of us here have been able to vote yet. The hamster wheel is just not turning fast enough. Now we've got it here. It's just Boytson. Yeah. It's just trustee Boytson. Trustee Boytson, it passed 9-0. Thank you for doing that. So the finance committee up. Trustee, I'm going to go back to our chair of our policy. Is there anything, Melissa, that you wanted to add? Anything about policy?
The only thing that I will add is I know we had talked about making changes to refer to us as the Board of Sunrise School Division, or we've added now in brackets the board, and that's just because it was getting very redundant and bogging down the policies if we kept adding a Sunrise School Division. So that, I just wanted to kind of make note of that change there.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to finance here. 8.9 talks about the finance committee. Trustee Nicol, anything that you want to talk about with regard to the finance committee before we have a few motions moving forward?
No, except that if you want to get more information, there's the minutes on there too, and it gives you all the information that you probably need. And then later on the program, there will be the financial statement, but Jody will give that.
Okay, so are there any questions? 8.10, the finance committee minutes are available to us. It's for information. Are there any questions from the minutes for anyone? Okay, thank you. So 8.11 is our check register. Be it resolved that the board receive the check register with a total amount of checks issued at $3,792,279.80, reviewed on February 20th by the Finance Committee for information as submitted. Moved by Trustee Nicol and seconded by Trustee Boytson. Any questions to the check register? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. Of course, when it doesn't come up right away, everyone looks at Sarah saying, make this hamster move quicker, so don't worry about that. Thank you, it passed 9-0. Education Foundation. Is there anything from the Education Foundation that you wanted to add, Jody?
Yeah, I could just send a reminder next week. There'll be a meeting as we've had requests for some expenditures over $20,000. So before we start accepting those donations, we want to make sure that the Education Foundation and the board agrees and that the projects align with the purpose and the scope of the Sunrise Education Foundation. So that's what next week's meeting is about. We are planning, now that the budget is approved tonight, we can roll on to the next phase of information pamphlets about the Education Foundation, and myself and my team can spend more time crafting some information for our schools and potential donors.
So what I just heard for you is that we will have a pamphlet coming out that will be in our schools that people can go ahead and take a look at? Perfect. Thank you. Anyone want? Trustee Rowan?
Jody, will that information also be available on our website at some point?
Yes, so we have, in the period of time that we've been working on budget, we have created like its own, not its own website, but a website screen for information to be uploaded about the Education Foundation. So we are slowly making progress, but yeah, there'll be a website that we can put people to a link on that pamphlet or an email that we can direct them to gather more information, or where, who are even the members on the Education Foundation. So it's coming. I'm pretty excited about it too.
Jody, when you've got that, can you make sure to send that information out to trustees? I know a lot of our parent groups are interested in moving forward with projects.
Thank you. Anyone else, anything else for Jody with regard to the foundation? Okay, thanks, Jody. Ad hoc Land Planning Committee, Trustee Rowan.
Yeah, so we do have our visit to the Niverville complex on April 23rd. Additionally, I've just set a meeting date for our next ad hoc meeting on April 29th, and then I'll be working likely with Sarah and Jody to set up a meeting with the Army of Springfield with the entire board for the directions that we got from the board through an approval process earlier this year.
So is that a visit to Niverville just for the land planning, or is that open to all trustees?
We're hoping that all trustees can come if it fits their schedule.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving forward, we're professional development, so the MSBA convention, so the 20th and 21st, I think Trustee Boytson, it's clear as to, we have all the attachments, but you have certainly with our ballots, and it'll be a very interesting, conversation, certainly in light of what budgets are going around with regard to the province, and certainly what's happening south of the border with us. We have the Capsule Conference on April 9th to the 11th in Banff. Help me, do we have anyone attending this? We do? Sarah, who's going? Trustee Harris and Trustee Rowan are going to Banff. Nice. So you're going to go get smart and you're going to come back and tell us. Perfect. Right on. Good for you guys. Okay. And again, I think that oh, sorry. Trustee Nicol.
Are we still a member of CAPSUL?
Perfect, thank you. CSBA conference, I think, Sarah, we've opened the doors to all of our trustees, correct? And I think that we have a number of trustees coming to the Canadian School Boards Conference that's in July. Thank you for that. Anybody want to comment? Okay. Divisional Financial Summary Report, there's a report that's there for information. Any questions on the Divisional Financial Summary Report from anyone? Okay, you've got it there for your reading, thanks. This is pretty cool, this board correspondence from Brandon University. And I wanted to stop and highlight it because often we don't see some of these kind of things. And I would say that Kevin has been recognized for a long time about this. I can remember about being a principal and well, maybe not being a principal because that's going way back, but I can remember about working in the board office, and then the last 7 years about the kudos that Kevin has brought forward. Kevin at one time a program leader in music and a big strong promoter of band, and certainly continues to promote that as the principal at SCI. But this is pretty cool that this has been written to us on behalf of, certainly Dr. Wendy Zander about recognizing Kevin. So I just wanted to stop and, when we have these kind of educators in our midst and we have somebody doing something special like that, it's a pretty big deal. So congratulations, Kevin, if you're listening. And thanks very much, Dr. Wendy Zander, for sending this to us. But it's a pretty big deal about the work that you do. Anyone else want to comment? Trustee Rowan.
I just also wanted to commend Mr. Kevin Dow. He's our principal at Springfield Collegiate
What did I say?
Institute. He didn't mention it.
Oh.
I mean, there's a letter attached, but for all of our fans at home, Springfield Collegiate Institute principal, Mr. Kevin Dow, congratulations for all your musical, sharing your talents with all our students over the years. Thank you. Thanks
for that. Nice to know information. Thanks, Sarah, for putting that information down. And kudos to all of our school teams and activities that are going on. And thank you to the staff that are putting all the work into it. Nice work for all the people that whether it's athletics, whether it's a variety of different activities, things are coming out really nicely. Upcoming meetings are March the 18th and April the 18th, along with a number of things that the board is doing with regard to convention and professional development. So questions from the public. Jody, are there any questions from the public that people have?
No, just a comment that our transportation manager is super excited to hit send on the board motion that was passed. So clearly he's been listening to the meeting tonight to buy 7 buses.
So you know what, Jason, if you are listening, it gives us a chance to say thank you to Jason. Being a transportation manager in Manitoba in the wintertime is never easy with regard to 95 routes, and I think it's still 95 or 94 routes, and getting kids to and from school safely, et cetera, through snow and that kind of thing. So Jason, if you're listening, thanks for the work that you continue to do with us and all the people at Transportation on behalf of all the board here. We don't have to move into in-camera, so we've got 2 resolutions, correct, Sarah? So here's the 2 resolutions that we're going to work on. Be it resolved that the board offer the position of Director of Human Resources effective as soon as can be arranged as recommended by the interview committee. So I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Boyton, seconded by Trustee Nicol. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. Thanks, Jody. And it passed 9-0. Thank you. And the second one from in camera was, be it resolved that the board authorize the interview committee to offer the position of maintenance manager to the recommended individual effective as soon as can be arranged. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Boyton, seconded by trustee Rowan. Any questions of this? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 9-0. Thank you for that. So again, I'd like to turn around and again say congratulations to our staff and the 8 other trustees that are here with me with regard to getting a budget passed and put forward. And you know what? Thank you for that. But we are adjourned. Is that correct? So okay. So we're adjourned. Thank you.
Unknown participant is now exiting.